Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Dead teen's mom's boyfriend and his uncle being sought by police. The boyfriend of 17-year-old mother of a 2-month-old baby is one of 2 people named as persons of interest in her shooting death Sunday night. The man has been identified as Eric Murdoch, otherwise called Brando, who is also the father of the victim's child. His uncle Tevin Cross is also sought by the police. Devonese Nelson, otherwise known as Pinky, a student from North Street, Kingston, was shot dead at her child's father's home in Denham Town on Sunday night. Her baby had been admitted to hospital prior to her death, reporters understand. Police said Murdoch and his uncle, both from Kings Heights, Waterhouse, Kingston 14, are being asked to turn themselves in to the Denham Town police immediately. The police said residents reported hearing explosions and summoned members of the security forces. Upon arrival of the police, a joint search of the area was conducted with the military, during which they were alerted to the apartment in Kings Heights. The team, upon entering the premises, saw the door to the apartment ajar and made entry inside. Upon entering, the team saw Nelson's body laying on its side in a pool of blood. The body had what appeared to be gunshot wounds to the left side of the face. Nelson was taken to Kingston Public Hospital, where she was confirmed dead. 37-year-old farmer suspected of committing suicide in St. Elizabeth. Police are probing a suspected case of suicide involving a farmer in St. Elizabeth on Sunday. He has been identified as 37-year-old Desiree Newell, a resident of Chocolate Hole District, community close to Junction. A police report said Newell was last seen alive about 12:40 p.m. on Sunday, but was later found hanging from a tree about 5:30 p.m. by a relative. A video, which has since gone viral on social media, shows Newell hanging from the tree by what appears to be a rope. A grief-stricken woman is also seen in the video. Newell was later pronounced dead at hospital. Police identify a foreign national found dead in Manchester. Police have identified a foreign national whose body was found in Shotley, Manchester on Sunday morning. He is 50-year-old Kenyatta Harris, a resident of New Jersey, in the United States, and West Green Crescent in St. James. Head of the Manchester Police Division, Superintendent Lloyd Darby, said about 5:30 a.m., police were alerted to the community where the man's body was found on a roadway with a wound to the head. The police are waiting the outcome of an autopsy report to determine the cause of death. Tropical wave could impact Jamaica by weekend. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica, Met Service, says a tropical wave moving over the Atlantic Ocean could develop into a tropical depression in the next few days and enter the Caribbean. According to the Met Service, the system could enter the southeastern Caribbean by midweek and increase chances of rain for Jamaica going into the weekend. An update from the National Hurricane Center NHC said the tropical wave is currently located about 900 miles east-southeast of the southern Windward Islands and is producing a large area of showers and thunderstorms. It said environmental conditions appear conducive for further development, and a tropical depression is likely to form during the next couple of days before the system reaches the Windward Islands Tuesday night, or possibly while moving westward across the southern Caribbean Sea Wednesday through Friday. The NHC said tropical storm watches or warning for portions of the Windward Islands and along the northeastern coast of Venezuela could be issued as early as Monday evening. It said the cyclone formation, changed through the next 48 hours, is a high 70%, and through the next 5 days is a high of 90%. Regardless of its development, the NHC said locally, heavy rainfall is possible over the Windward Islands and the northeastern coast of Venezuela Tuesday night and Wednesday. In the meantime, the Met Service will continue to monitor the system. Jamaicans encouraged to utilize alternative dispute resolution services. Jamaicans are being encouraged to utilize alternative dispute resolutions (ADR) services offered by the government through Ministry of Justice to settle conflicts amicably outside the courts. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck made the call while addressing the Legal Aid Council Justice Fair in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth last Friday. We want every single Jamaican to appreciate that when they get into conflicts with their neighbors and families, that they don't have to take it out on another. Services are available not only of other ministries but certainly of the Ministry of Justice in every single parish, she said. We have victim service, child diversion for children who are wayward. We have restorative justice so that people can learn how to get along with another one, and indeed, if they get into conflict over land, wages, or anything, they can access mediation services, the minister added. He stated that the increased use of these initiatives would help in reducing backlogs in the courts. He noted that the judicial system is overburdened with in excess of 70,000 cases and more than 100,000 traffic offences listed in the parish courts annually. The minister pointed out that resolving all these matters in any single year would prove challenging. He said, however, the increased use of ADR services to resolve simple cases and family matters would enable the courts to focus on civil and criminal matters. So even though the courts are available to resolve conflicts, you citizens can be proactive and together see if you can work it out without having to burden the courts, the minister added. We intend that people in every nook and cranny should know about the alternative justice services that they can access to resolve their disagreement, their disputes and conflicts, he further stated. Approximately 100 million is being provided through the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service to fund ADR services as well as other restorative justice activities. The Justice Ministry has been undertaking an island-wide public education campaign focusing on the use of these interventions. People can access ADR services through the Restorative Justice Centers and Victim Services Division Office that are available and established in each parish. Additionally, there are child diversion offices with mediation centers to be established in several parishes soon. During the fair, residents of Santa Cruz were sensitized about the various ministry agencies that can engage to receive legal support, counseling, mediation, and other justice-related services. Jamaica moves to eliminating trans fats from local food supply. Jamaica has begun work towards elimination of trans fatty acids from its local food supply. This as part of the efforts by the Ministry of Health and Wellness to reduce risk factors from non-communicable diseases which remain prevalent across the island. Work is being done to increase the capacity of government labs to assess products. 2 major labs have been provided with equipment to test for industrially produced trans fatty acids, and the relevant staff members have been trained to analyze products in accordance with established guidelines, said Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisosa Mackenzie. She was speaking at the 178th session of the Pan American Health Organization Executive Committee in Washington, D.C., United States last Friday, noting that significant work is ahead before the country ratifies the plan of action for the elimination of industrially produced trans fatty acids. The CMO said plans are in train for the development of regulatory policy. This includes pre-regulatory assessment in the form of a national study assessing foods that are sources of IPTFA findings, of which have been shared with key stakeholders including the general public, the food industry, media entities, academia, government body, policymakers, and advocacy groups. A consultation was conducted on June 14, 2022, with key stakeholders including representatives from the food industry, Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, the Small Business Association, academia, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness to discuss the assessment of industrial product trans fatty acids in Jamaica, share best practices, and discuss policy options for the elimination of IPTFA for Jamaica, the CMO added. The national assessment also details the amount of industrially produced trans fatty contained in foods commonly consumed by Jamaicans. Trans fats are a leading cause of high blood pressure, heart disease, cancers, and stroke. Jamaica, Haiti at bottom of COVID-19 vaccination table. Very far behind is how Jamaica, who has been lumped into neighboring Haiti, has been described in vaccination against COVID-19 in the latest World Bank report. The report, titled 2 Years After Saving a Generation, released last Thursday by the World Bank and UNICEF in collaboration with UNESCO, said whilst the death toll in Latin America and the Caribbean has been devastating, some countries in the region have regained control over the immediate health crisis through increased access to the vaccines and significant vaccination rates. It, however, said while countries like Chile and Cuba, with 91 and 88% of people fully vaccinated respectively, are top of the regional ranks, countries like Haiti, with 1% of its population vaccinated, and Jamaica at 23%, are very far behind. The report said that in general, vaccination rates in Latin America and the Caribbean (LAC) showed that larger countries in the South American sub-region have been more successful in acquiring vaccines and vaccinating its population when compared to countries in the Caribbean. According to data from the website of the Ministry of Health in Jamaica, last updated June 25th, a total of 1,455,907 doses of vaccine have been administered. Of that number, 705,433 Jamaicans have received first doses, 602,003 second doses, and 106,410 single doses. A total of 23.9% of the population has been fully vaccinated. In the meantime, the country also found itself listed among the countries that kept school doors shuttered for the longest. According to the report, data on the length and intensity of school closures across LAC indicated that countries and governments in the region approach school closures and reopening in different ways. It said the majority of small island states in the Caribbean were the ones to close less and or reopen early, arguably due to their insular situation, which gave them an edge in terms of border closing and virus spread. Still, some specific Caribbean islands like the Bahamas, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands were among the top 15 countries with longest spells of school closures, the report said. Jamaica in March of 2020, following the discovery of the first case of the virus in the island, shuttered all schools, reverting to online platforms. Full face-to-face resumption for public schools resumed only in March of this year. The report, in the meantime, said the massive and persuasive school closures have been heterogeneous in nature, not only across countries but similarly within many countries, including Bolivia, Chile, Ecuador, Mexico, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay, which initiated the school reopening process in rural areas with lower transmission rate and COVID-19 prevalence. It said other countries like Colombia empowered subnational levels to reopen, while pointing out that some governments also prioritized return to school for specific groups, including vulnerable students. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.